Anyone interested in an Audi Q5 or an Audi A7 for around $9,000 brand new, straight from the factory? Well, that's the deal you can get in China. This story I'm about to share with you is truly shocking. It might be the most shocking example of a car company showing desperation and trying to keep it hidden. Basically, dumping what is actually a very good product for prices that are so staggeringly low. It's just blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind that this even happened. I can't believe it did, and it's still happening right now. Now, you've got to consider this fact. Audi have just dumped cars at 50% discount in China. This is their way of trying to hide the fact they're doing this. But we can't just say, hey, Audi, look what you're doing. No one wants your electric car. They've sat at dealerships for more than a year and you're selling them at a 50% discount. I mean, we're talking the e-tron, right? But it's not just Audi. BMW has done the same thing. So I'm going to be speaking at the Electric Car Show in Melbourne on the 23rd of September. I'd love to see you. It's on the Saturday, 12 o'clock. And I'll put a link in the description below to how you can get slightly discounted tickets. I don't make anything from those, by the way. And I think all the car brands are going to they're going to look at me going, that guy, hate him. Anyway, I'm just reporting the facts here, my friends. Hello and welcome to the channel. It's great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Audi, they have just given discounts on the e-tron EV of 50% to all their staff. Now, this is China-wide. You can imagine how many staff they have. This is their way of dumping these EVs without actually pissing off majorly customers who have bought them. Now, to be honest, it's not a whole lot of people to piss off because not a whole lot of people have bought them. But, I mean, still, the Chinese get really angry when this sort of thing happens. This is their way to try and mitigate the anger of Chinese consumers and not have to refund them 50% of their purchase price. However, the thing is, it's a bit of a scam. I mean, they know what they're doing. Anyhow, imagine the discount on the actual cost price that Audi are selling these at. So what actually has happened? Well, Audi have had the e-tron EV, which is, I think, a pretty decent EV. I wouldn't mind one. I'd take one for 50% off, that's for sure. At half price to employees. Now, we're talking employees at the entire factory. This is a lot of people. This is thousands of people. Audi hasn't responded about this story. I'm going to guess that they probably won't. The Audi e-tron, though, is being offered at half price to employees until the end of the year. This shows that there's just not a whole lot of demand. The cars are coming with the production line. They're not being sold. Now, we know this because of other reports in China. The e-tron is offered in 3 different versions in China. CarNewsChina.com says this special reserve version of the e-tron 50 Quattro is being sold for $42,500. This is a big car. It's a big, expensive car. This is it's an actually incredible bargain, really. If I was one of the employees there, to be honest, I don't think the employees could even afford this, most of them. But if I was, I'd have to strongly consider this. The price in the China market to retail consumers is $85,000. But, I mean, surely you could just, I don't know, put an ad on social media. Hey, Weibo, you know what do they use? And just say, hey, one of the thousands of employees, can I buy one from you? I'll pay you $500. And then as that employee, buy it and hand it on, right? Anyway, the reserve version is being sold even cheaper than that. So that's the luxury version that I just mentioned. The reserve version is $40,000. In the retail market, it's $80,000. The luxury version, even though it's the cheapest, or nearly the cheapest, is $37,000. On the retail market, it's $74,600. Meaning, Audi is selling to its thousands of employees the e-tron for $36,000 or less than an XPeng EV. Now, here's the problem though, and here's why you would still have to think twice about buying one, period. Audi has not changed the e-tron since it arrived in April of 2021, meaning more than 2 years, no changes. The Chinese just have no patience for this. They're like, well, if you don't have the latest Snapdragon Qualcomm chips in our car, we don't want it. If it's not got the new batteries in there, we don't want it. If it's not like a new version of the car, we don't want it. That's very much normal in China. And how do we know this? Well, they aren't really selling. Dealers say they've had stock for more than 200 days. More than 200 days, the cars are sitting in dealerships. One dealer said the locally manufactured e-tron might stop production. And this is the last batch of e-trons, of Audi e-trons in China. Only imported versions, which are even more expensive, will be available in the future, the dealer said. Now, here's where things start to get very, very strange in this story. FAW Audi doesn't even make the e-tron, right? So why are employees at FAW Audi being offered this vehicle at a 50% discount if they don't even make it there? Now, this is very weird. Basically, it sounds as though they're subsidizing the German-made version at a discount of 50% off. And this is their way of trying to hide the fact that the e-tron is just not selling as well as they thought it would. This could be something to do with what the Volkswagen Group CEO, when he said the roof is on fire at the company. The CFO said, we are financially in a very, very difficult situation here. Car News China says this: in March, SAIC Volkswagen Audi joint venture organized a similar campaign for its employees where it was selling the Audi A7L, the Q6, and the Audi Q5 e-tron for 70,000. How is this possible? The A7, in Australia, this car costs like $150,000. They're selling it for $9,500 for the A7, and the Q5 e-tron for $21,000. The Q5 e-tron, the Q6, somewhere in between that number. The media said the campaign was organised to clear inventories. But that is just dumping them at absolute peanut prices. Now, what is absolutely really shocking about all this is the media is harping on about Tesla's backlog being 50,000 or less. But they're not even mentioning any of this stuff, which has been reported by the Chinese media, saying the Audi A7L, the e-tron, the Q5 e-tron, the Q8 e-tron, the Q6 are being dumped at 50% discount or less to thousands of Audi employees or Volkswagen Group employees in China. This is a significantly large problem, and no one is mentioning any of this. To give you an idea on just how bad the sales really truly are, Audi e-tron sales figures for the first 7 months of the year in the world's biggest car market, 28 million cars sold every year, 508. What are they selling about? What's that, about 80 per month? So about 20 per week. In July, it recorded its record sales number of 147. But the thing is, of that 147, how many of them went to employees at a 50% discount? We have no idea. It could be every single one of them. I don't know. Now, what I just said, even though that sounds crazy, may actually be true, because the Audi sold only 26 e-trons across the entire country of China in April, right? This is the EV-loving country of China. They love luxury cars. They used to love Audis, clearly. I don't know if they do or not anymore, but they sold 26 in the month of April. So then what happens? Audi start offering them these enormous discounts to employees. All of a sudden, they have a record month for 147. Maybe 127 staff bought one between, I don't know, in the month of, what was it, July, their record of 147. What all this means to me is this. There's still quite a few old school people in China. They want an internal combustion Audi vehicle. I think there's definitely still demand for internal combustion Audi powered vehicles. How long that'll last? I don't know. I mean, remember we had those, old school phones, and people they held onto their Blackberries and Nokias for a little while, but eventually they were like, oh, okay, it's time to move on now. I think that's what will happen. Now, right now we're in that period, right? That little grace period where people are like, oh, no, I'm still into this old stuff. I like it now. I'm going to stick with it. But eventually even the old people move on. When will they move on from Audis? I don't know. But I think China is well and truly on the way towards electrification. And the reality here is luxury car brands are not going to play a large role. One of the key reasons for this the Chinese don't think anyone makes better EVs than they do. Now, they always had the impression mentally, ask any Chinese person in China, what car do you want to own? You know, what car do you think is great? What's a great car? They'd say, oh, German cars are fantastic. You know, I would love to have something like an Audi RS6 or, you know, some sort of expensive Mercedes or whatever. But if you ask them what electric car do they want to own, I think you'll find none of them would tell you a German-made EV is what I want, is what I aspire to. The future, my friends, is here. It's electric. And the world, well, it's moving on from the old. And to be honest, I kind of think suffer in your jocks. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Bye-bye.